Let's imagine that we have a particle of mass m at rest and a particle of light uh, gets absorbed by this particle of rest mass m, and the system then sort of moves. And so we have a energy momentum for this light particle, so let's call it pi. It's actually the same thing for the energy and the momentum, because if this is the the two momentum of the object, then its momentum is pi, and its energy is just this times the speed of light, which is 1 in our unit, so we just have pi there. And the object's, the rest mass, the object of mass m, of rest mass m that's just sitting there, has a 2 momentum, which is m0. And so, of course, we get pi plus m for the energy of this object, and we have a momentum for that object, which is pi, and we can ask, what is the rest mass? So let's say, what is the rest mass? Let's call it m nu, and how fast is it moving in this reference frame where that object is just sitting there. So what is v? Well, that requires that we rewrite this, right? So we want to write this in terms of the rest mass. That becomes m nu, right? It's mc squared. C is 1 over 1 minus v squared square root. And the momentum in terms of this mass and speed, v, 1 minus v squared square root. And so now we can get these two unknowns, because we have 2 equations and 2 unknowns. So what are our equations? We have m plus pi equals m nu over 1 minus v squared square root, and pi, or this relationship, is equal to m nu v over 1 minus v squared square root. So we could figure out what this quantity is, right? So 1 minus v squared is equal to m nu over m plus pi, right, from this equation, and then plug it into this equation, right? Pi times this, which is this, must be equal to that. So that then gives us pi m nu over m plus pi is equal to m nu times v. And so we can solve for v. V is pi over m plus pi. Okay, that's the speed with which this object, this newly formed object, is moving. And now we can solve for m nu. Right, m nu is equal to, see, it's m plus pi times this. So we have m plus pi times the square root of 1 minus, right, it's this thing squared, which is pi squared over m plus pi squared. And this is, so we need a common denominator, which is m plus pi squared, and we'll have that here. But then notice that we take the square root, so the denominator here becomes m plus pi, that cancels with this one, and so we just have the numerator here, which will be m plus pi squared minus pi squared, and so we see that m nu will be the square root of, right, we cancel the pi squares here, so we just have m squared plus the cross product. So it's 2m pi, and that's the new rest mass.